Hey guys, it's Jones. It's just about time for the long-awaited Roadhouse Challenge of Tremors. But quick reminder before we get started that potty voting is open. Put the polls out yesterday. You can vote right now on Twitter at Carolina_pod. Help us choose the winners of the most prestigious trophy there is, the potty. All right, let's get to it. Time for a Roadhouse Challenge edition of the Carolina Insider.
From Pod World Headquarters, this is the Carolina Insider from Learfield.
We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. Jones and Adam here with you. And Adam, it's been a while. It's been a while that we've been able to gather around our respective screens, journey back to a fine cinematic masterpiece, as we will today, as we take a look at Tremors in the Roadhouse Challenge. Adam, are you excited?
I'm glad you said that because I had a moment of panic when you said that we had done a cinematic masterpiece, and I thought, I watched Tremors.
Whoops, watched the wrong movie, everybody. We're going to get to that in just a second. I just need to do a little business first.
Like Kevin Bacon at the beginning of the movie.
Whoa, look at this. We're starting hot. We're brought to you by Pinehurst. It's more than Donald Ross's masterpiece, Pinehurst number 2. There's Gil Hanse's stunning redesign of number 4. You can grab a couple wedges, take a loop on the cradle, the fun short course, unwind at the Pinehurst Brewing Company for craft beers, classic North Carolina barbecue, and it's all just down the hill from the fully renovated Manor Inn. There's never been a better time at the cradle of American golf than right now. Pinehurst.com and plan your visit. And while we're talking about great sponsors, what about UNC Health? Dedicated to caring for champions of all kinds and to help keep you in the game and at your very best. You can see their lineup at unchealthcare.org/sports, unchealthcare.org/sports. Okay. I feel like because it's Kevin Bacon is in this movie, there's obviously a tractor scene, so I'll save the LS tractor read for then. But for now, let's jump into the Roadhouse Challenge and Tremors.
The Roadhouse Challenge.
J.C. Penney is coming here because of me.
Today,
What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Look, these creatures are absolutely unprecedented.
Yeah, but where do they come from?
Cannon fuse.
What the hell are you using for?
A cannon.
Pardon my French.
Now they get you. They're under the ground.
So baby, why not tonight? This could be the start of something right.
January 19th, 1990, Adam. Tremors hits the big screen. So what was going on in 1990? We used to do TV shows. I'm not going to do TV shows. It's always the same TV shows. 60 Minutes, Cheers, blah, 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 blah.
Roseanne. It's a different world. Cosby Show.
I mean, as we said last time, all of these shows completely fine. Nothing problematic about any of them. So I thought, in addition to music, which we'll get to in a second, set the scene, the little sports action, Adam. See if Adam can remember. Adam, 1990 Super Bowl. Who you got?
Were the Giants in that one?
I would have, if I'd have had to guess, I would have said this was one of the Giants over the Bills. It was actually 49ers 55, Broncos 10. Final score.
That was in that period where none of the Super Bowls were close.
Yeah. The NFC just blew out the AFC every single time.
You might say in the next day's newspaper, it was the not-so-Super Bowl, Jones.
Sick burn, Adam.
Yep.
A little bit later in the year, Stanley Cup goes to the Edmonton Oilers. They beat the Boston Bruins 4-1.
Wayne Gretzky still an Edmonton Oiler? At that
I
point in
believe
time?
so, yes. I think Messier may have been there too. What a superpower.
Glory days.
Detroit Pistons take home the NBA title. They beat the Trailblazers 4-1.
Your reign's coming to an end, bad boys.
The last time anything at all happened good for the Cincinnati Reds as they beat the Oakland A's 4-1 to win the World Series.
That was a fun Cincinnati Reds team.
Ooh, Eric Davis, Chris Sabo, Barry
Yeah.
Larkin.
Were the Nasty Boys in the bullpen?
Rob Dibble.
Norm Charlton.
Yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, Norm Charlton. And NCAA title belongs to the Runnin' Rebels. They beat Duke 103-73 in the championship game. Still the largest blowout, I believe, in championship game history.
Much like the TV shows, nothing problematic there.
Yeah.
Move right on.
Everything's fine. So really, I mean, think about that, Adam. NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, all 4-1 in the finals. College championship is a 30-point win, and the Super Bowl is a 45-point win. It's not very exciting.
I still loved every second of it.
Oh, yeah, I was eating it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also like to, as you know, if you've been with us on Roadhouse Challenges before, go through the top 5 songs of the time period as well. So, Adam, you and I have both looked. Our list may be slightly different because you can find all kinds of different lists. But this is what I have, Adam. Number 5.
Look at this face. I know the years are showing.
I don't know much.
Look at this life. I still don't know where it's going.
But I know I love you.
I don't know much,
Linda Ronstadt
but I know I love you.
featuring Aaron Neville.
Incredibly underranked.
And that may be all I need to know.
It only ascends to number 2. Not a number 1.
That's stunning to me.
Over some of the other ones that were number 1, this has stayed in our hearts and minds for much longer.
I got to tell you, we've had some Linda Ronstadt run-ins lately here on the pod. What a talented artist. I'm telling you.
Nothing for Aaron Neville?
Yeah, I mean, he was good too, obviously. But Linda Ronstadt, Adam, I just need to go back and watch that video of her and Kenny Rogers in the Greensboro Coliseum in 1983, and it's electric. It's electric.
I thought that was Sheena Easton.
That was Sheena Easton. You're right. But you know what? That was awesome regardless.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, Linda Ronstadt, Sheena Easton. Same person.
Right.
Basically.
But Aaron Neville, never mistake anybody for him.
Did he have a brother? Wasn't there 2 Nevilles?
Sure.
Wasn't there another Neville?
I don't know.
I might be thinking about Peebo Bryson.
All I need to know.
I really enjoyed Tom Cruise in this film. Oh, wait, that was
Wait a
Kevin
second.
Bacon.
Don't know much.
That is a fantastic song. And, Jones, fun fact,
Oh.
speaking of Kevin Bacon, about that song, as we often are, it was written by Tom Snow, who is known for his work on music for movies. What movies? Oh, I'll tell you.
Oh.
He wrote the score for Footloose.
Oh.
And also the music for the song Let's Hear It for the Boy.
Let's hear it for the boy. Let's give the boy a hand. Let's hear it for my baby.
How about that?
He wrote Let's Hear It for the Boy and Don't Know Much, But I Know I Love You.
I mean, that's a career.
At that point, Tom threw down his pen and said, I cannot do any better. I'm going into another line of business.
Number 4, Adam, which ascends to number 1, at least quickly on my list, Michael Bolton. How am I supposed to live without you?
This isn't the period when Michael Bolton was kind of a juggernaut.
Yeah, I think we're getting there, though. And Michael Bolton wrote this song. Because when I remember this song, but I remember the female version of it. There's a somebody sang it in 1983. I'll look it up, Adam.
Wow. I didn't know any of that. I thought this was original to Michael Bolton in 1990.
Okay, yep. Laura Branigan. Yep. She sang it in 1983.
Yep, says right here, Linda Ronstadt.
Sheena Easton, everybody. Congratulations. So we've been tugging on our heartstrings, and now we're going to pump it up.
Y'all ready for this?
Dun, 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 because it is Pump Up the Jam by Technotronic coming in at number 3.
Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping. And the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up.
Which do you think has lived a longer lifespan as a song? Pump Up the Jam or I Don't Know Much?
Pump Up the Jam has the advantage of like rock and jock, right? It's like the ultimate rock and jock song.
Yeah, I think if you go to as many games as we go to, I think...
Yeah, Pump Up the Jam will make an appearance every now and then.
Yeah, Pump Up the Jam is pretty much part of your daily life.
Guys, it's time to pump up the jam.
And like it'll pop up in a Disney movie every now and then as like a, ha, yes, pump up the jam.
Would you care to name one, Adam?
Nope. But I bet there have been some.
Number 2, I got to tell you a song I don't like, Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson.
I don't either.
I don't like it. I don't care about the video. It's like her attempt at Thriller, and it's just not good enough.
I just did the Rhythm Nation dance.
Yeah, now that was pretty darn good.
And there's so many other Janet Jackson songs I like better. I feel like this song was only highly ranked because it was Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
If this had been, I don't know, Linda Ronstadt, I don't think it goes to number 2. But because it was Janet, we were all like, oh yeah, Janet always makes good songs. Put her up there near the top 5. I haven't heard much from old Janet lately. Although I did feel like I saw her on TV the other day. But it wasn't her.
Well, Sheena Easton. Our good friend Phil Collins coming in at number 1. Adam.
Linda Ronstadt.
Another Day in Paradise.
Think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise.
This video's intense.
Is this the
Makes
one?
you think.
He's walking through the streets.
It's talking all about homelessness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was, let's take out Pump Up the Jam. Not a lighthearted top 5 here.
Yeah. Pretty intense stuff. This is what life was like in 1990. You were living hard and loving hard.
You were watching blowouts in your favorite sporting events.
Pumping up the jam.
I'm kind of neutral on Another Day in Paradise.
It's fine.
Like if it comes on,
honestly, if I had to rank these in how I like them,
yeah.
I think I'm going Don't Know Much number 1.
Yep.
How Am I Supposed to Live Without You number 2.
Yep.
I may go Pump Up the Jam 3, Another Day in Paradise 4, Rhythm Nation 5.
I'd switch Paradise and Jam in the 3 and 4 positions. Otherwise, I like your list. And
Jam's more of a cleanup hitter, putting him in the 4 spot.
And the way I would determine that is if it came on the radio, would I change it? If Rhythm Nation comes on, I'm probably changing it.
Automatic change.
If Pump Up the Jam comes on, I don't think I'm listening to that all the way through.
If Pump Up the Jam comes on, I'm going to check my other top 5 or 6 presets and see if anything's better. I don't want to go too deep in the presets.
Right.
But I will definitely check the other 5. Another Day in Paradise, though, I feel the same way. The other 2, I'm staying.
There is no worse feeling in the world than you're listening to a song that you kind of like and you're like, this song's all right. And then you switch to another preset and it's the end of an awesome song. And you're like, I just wasted listening to that song by listening to this song.
I'm going to tell you 2 things, Adam, that are relevant to this conversation. So I just bought a new car. No big deal.
Paid all cash in a suitcase full of big bills. Don't make a big deal.
Don't make a big deal about it. There's one downside to the new car and one big upside to the new car. Downside. I only have 12 presets for the radio. In my old car, I had 36.
Ooh.
I had 6 pages of 6 presets each.
Right.
This one, I only have 2 pages of 6. Adam, 36 to 12. That's an impossible cut.
Sorry, guys. We're going to have to let some of you go. Go see Coach in the office with your playbook.
So that's been really, really tough to decide. But here's to your point, and maybe your car does this. I don't know. I don't know if it's just my car. I don't know.
It may be only this one.
So if I go to a station, like when I change on my presets, it automatically DVRs it to the beginning of the song, like no matter what.
Right.
So that never happens to me. It never happens to me that I go, now that I go to a preset and it's like the last couple seconds of the song, it doesn't happen. It's DVR'd it to the beginning of the song.
I don't have that. Thanks for rubbing it in. I did have a rental car that had that recently, and I was completely blown away by the fact that this was an option.
Well, yeah, and then you'll, like, if I get a call, because I get several important calls during the day.
Right.
It'll go right back to the place in the song where you were when you took the call.
Get out of town.
How did they do it?
How does that work?
I don't know.
Well, that same rental car that I had led me, and we texted about this when I discovered it, led me to the discovery that there's a whole bunch of new XM radio channels that no one told me about.
Yeah.
Why would you not tell me?
I don't know.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and some of these channels I would have liked to have been listening to, but some of them were set on this rental car I had. I was like, what channel is this? This mosaic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I had no idea that was a channel. But I have to be completely honest. I haven't programmed it on my car because I don't want to. Then I'd have to change the order, and I'd probably be.
How many
confused.
presets do you have?
I'm not sure.
Is it more than 12?
Yes.
Well,
my car doesn't DVR the songs for me. I got to have a lot of presets.
Yeah. Radio giveth, radio taketh away.
I feel like it might be time to reprogram because some of the ones I have in my preset, sometimes I skip over them. And if I would skip over them, they shouldn't be in preset.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Preset should have stuff that most of the time you're going to listen to.
Well, and
or at least you get excited because you're like, ooh,
right.
90s on 9 is next. Let's see what's on it.
Right. Well, and they just came out with, do you have this 90s prom channel? Have you been listening to this?
I don't know that
It's
one.
not as good as you think. I heard a commercial for it on another channel, and I was like, holy cow, that sounds like the greatest channel in history. And so I started checking it regularly. There's never anything good on there. I didn't listen to that at the prom. What prom did you go to?
I mean, Adam went to 2 proms. I went to 3, but Adam went to 2, so he should know.
Next thing you're going to tell me that my mom always told me that everybody went to the prom in their basement and
by themselves.
and no one else was there except for their parents.
This is the prom, honey. Are you sure, Mom? There are decorations and stuff at school. No, this is it. It's here at our house.
That's what they always told me, and she told me she had to take my money for the ticket, and then I drank some punch, and about 8:30 it was time to go to bed. And they did not play the songs at that prom that they play on 90s prom radio.
You can't find Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville anywhere on that channel. Or Sheena Easton.
They haven't played one single duet between Aaron Neville and Sheena Easton. Or Kenny Rogers and Linda Ronstadt. What kind of channel is this?
In all seriousness, though, you got to go find that video, 83 Greensboro Coliseum. When Sheena Easton comes out of the darkness, it's a magical moment. You just got to.
We've got tonight, babe, so why don't we stay
deep in my soul? I feel so all of my heart faded away.
Okay.
I bet some of our listeners probably have a ticket stub to that in their jar of tickets. It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. All right. Okay, Adam, you ready to get started here?
What do you want to know about the box office results?
Oh,
of
yes,
Tremors?
please, yes.
Not great.
No, it wasn't.
Not great at all. Tremors comes out, as Joan said, January 19th of 1990, and immediately does pretty much nothing. It comes in 5th at the box office that week behind these classics. Number 4, War of the Roses.
I have heard of that. I don't really know anything about it.
Number 3, Internal Affairs.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Richard Gere.
Same guy.
Number 2, I always get this one confused. Tango and Cash.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's not the one with Tom Hanks and the dog. That's Turner and Hooch.
Ah.
I always get this confused. Tango and Cash, Kurt Russell?
Is there a dog in it?
In Tango and Cash?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Cash it and a dog?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
And then number 1, Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah, I mean, fine.
So if you went to the cinema...
Let's be honest. Tremors probably belongs where it's located.
If you went to the cinema this weekend, you could be like, now, do I want to see an emotional tearjerker about a Vietnam veteran who's trying to make America a better place? Or Kevin Bacon and Underground Worms?
Do I want to see a buddy cop film that may or may not have a dog?
So Tremors goes, next week it's number 6, next week number 8, next week number 11, then it pretty much disappears. Tripled its box office with home rentals.
Yeah, I think, Adam, if I had to compare this to a movie we've watched, I would say Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
In that, I think it's more of a cult favorite than it is like a good movie. I mean, the wild thing to me about Tremors is that it's still going. Like, there have been 3 sequels, I think. There was a prequel and a TV series. I think that when there was, like 2 years ago, I think there was one. It's like Tremors Island or something. Like, how is that even possible?
Because Michael Gross is single-handedly keeping it alive.
Yeah. Well, so let's tell you. So, by the way, originally this movie called Land Sharks. Did you see that?
But they were worried that it was going to infringe on a Saturday Night Live skit.
Of course, we're starring here Kevin Bacon. Second go-round for KB in the Roadhouse Challenge.
I feel like it's been more for him. I think he's just in my heart.
Yeah. Valentine McKee, his character. Of course, we also join Kevin in Footloose in 1984. Of course, Kevin Bacon's been in a billion things since then. I saw somewhere, Adam, that Kevin Bacon said this was the low point of his career.
Well, it was a little bit of a roller coaster for Kevin Bacon because he did say that before. He thought his career was over. But then during the course of filming, he called his wife and said, I've never had this much fun making a movie.
That's good. He
Look who he was working with.
Yeah, co-stars with Sam Ward, Earl Bassett, the character. A lot of small and medium roles for Sam Ward through the years. He was in The Right Stuff. Unfortunately, just recently passed away, actually, at 79 years old, just a couple weeks ago. Adam, I can't look at Sam Ward and not think of 2 things. One, he was Melanie Smooter's dad in Reese Witherspoon in Alabama. What's the
Sweet Home Alabama?
Sweet Home Alabama, thank you.
He was in that.
Yeah, he was her dad. And he reminds me so much of Larry Fedora, I can't stand it. Like, if they ever did a Larry Fedora movie, I am super sad that Sam Ward has passed away for multiple reasons, but that he wouldn't be there to star as Larry Fedora because he reminds me of him identically.
Or let's turn that on its head. Maybe Larry Fedora could be in Tremors 9.
There you go.
Larry Fedora and Kevin Bacon. Yeah. A buddy cop comedy we all have been wanting.
Finn Carter as Rhonda LeBeck. Miss Carter, mostly TV work since then, and not good news. She was arrested in 2019 for stolen vehicle and credit card problems. I would have never guessed it watching this movie, Adam.
No, I thought she was on to a big career in seismology.
Michael Gross, just a day, literally a day after he wraps up shooting on Family Ties as Stephen Keaton, he comes and is Burt Gummer, who really steals this movie along with his bride in this movie. Adam, it's the first cinematic appearance for Reba McEntire. We've got Mr. Keaton and Reba McEntire both in this movie.
And Stephen Keaton, a.k.a. Michael Gross, said that he shaved off his Stephen Keaton beard that very night of the last shoot for Family Ties, left just the mustache, went to the set of Tremors the very next day. He's like, I'm Burt Gummer.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you sure are.
Michael Gross continued to do a bunch of stuff. He's done a ton of TV work. He's been, where he's been dabbling in here recently, Adam? Christmas movies. TV Christmas movies.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in one, though.
Well, it's not it's not on the main channels yet. He's on one of the off-brand TV Christmas movies. But I'm sure that Hallmark will gobble him up soon. We know there's a bidding war for Christmas TV stars.
I was going to ask, is he part of the talent war? I could easily see him, I guess by this point, he'd be maybe the wise grandfather who understands the spirit of Christmas but wants to let these young kids figure it out on their own.
I would think so. He maybe could get away with playing a dad, but I would think he'd have to be a granddad at this point.
What if he played against type and played a crusty old businessman who wants to shut down the local bookshop on Christmas Eve and put someone out of a job?
Mr. Gross, if you just want to give us a call, we've got a ton of ideas.
We know a good screenwriter in this category who could possibly help. What do you think went through the conversation with Reba and her agent when she had all these hits and then she said, I'd like to get into acting? And the agent was like, great news. I've just seen this script that I think is perfect for you. It's about giant underground worms.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place for you to start.
Do you know how old Reba McEntire is?
In the movie?
No, right now.
Oh, boy. Maybe like between 65 and 70?
Ding, 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 ding. 67, Adam.
Nice.
So this was 33 years ago, right? So she'd have been early 30s in this movie.
She looks young.
Yeah.
She looks so young to the point that I almost didn't recognize her, even though I knew Reba was in the movie.
Yeah. So first movie for Reba, of course, Reba's done plenty of things. She had her own TV series for a while, remember? I think it was called Reba.
Yeah.
Reba she's to the point now where she's like a business on her own, right? I mean, just like she's like Garth Brooks or it's just Reba.
I saw Reba in Las Vegas when we were there for the Heels.
Well, recently you saw Reba.
Yeah, like in the last 6 months.
She still got it?
She was there with Brooks and Dunn. I prefer Brooks and Dunn to Reba, but you can't deny Reba's magnetism on the stage.
Yeah, plus fancy.
You know, I might have been born just plain white trash, but fancy was my name.
She could just play fancy.
Yeah, just throw the fancy card down and game over.
Yep.
I also wanted to mention, Adam, just one other, and there's a couple people as we go through the movie, because this is a pretty small cast here in Tremors.
I had to spend all the money on the special effects.
Yeah. Victor Wong, who plays Walter Chang. Second time we've seen Mr. Wong. He was also in Big Trouble in Little China.
And really a decorated resume for Mr. Wong. First Chinese-American reporter, I think ever, is what I read about him. Covered a lot of Vietnam War protests, covered the Patty Hearst kidnapping thing.
Wow.
So he was much more than just an actor. And
he was good, by the way. He was good.
He was really good. And the character was originally Vietnamese, and he suggested to the writers that they change it to Chinese, and they did.
Okay, Adam, anything else we're missing as far as setting the stage or anything about Tremors before we get started?
Well, an important cast member, Ariana Richards, who left me sitting there going, wait a second, who's that girl? That girl is somebody. That's what I said to my wife.
I knew it right when I saw her because she annoyed me so much in Jurassic Park. It's the girl from Jurassic Park.
Yep.
There's another Jurassic Park about to come out.
This girl not in that.
No. She's,
also probably not a girl anymore.
I believe she's 42. Yes, as soon as I saw her face, I was like, that's the annoying girl from Jurassic Park.
What a couple of years for her.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Jurassic Park was like, we need someone who has practiced running away from things.
Have any of you ever run away from monsters on the screen or bounced on a pogo stick?
I am not on board with the new Jurassic Parks, but I know who is probably real excited about this new movie. That guy we saw at Universal Studios who was dressed like the guy.
Yeah, that's just extra cash in his pocket.
Yep.
All right, we ready to do this?
Yes.
Well, Adam already, big spoiler alert, told you the first scene of the movie. This movie doesn't mess around. It just starts.
Yeah. We're in.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon is urinating off a cliff.
Yep.
Perfect way to start the movie.
And scene.
The end. He is Val, as we mentioned. He and Earl were living the simple life, Adam. I was unclear if they lived out of their truck, but then later in the movie they go and gather things at like a trailer. but for some reason they had been sleeping in their truck out in the vast expanse of the Nevada wasteland.
And it didn't seem like they were far from their trailer.
No. Maybe it had gotten so wild the night before that they just had to shut it down.
I could see them making that sort of wise choice.
Yeah. So a couple minutes of us just learning that Val and Earl are living the simple life out in the middle of nowhere.
Also that Kevin Bacon's jeans don't really fit.
But he's Kevin Bacon, Adam.
He adjusted them. Everything worked out fine.
So Val and Earl, you learn, are local handymen. They kind of do odd jobs around the town.
Says it right on their truck.
Yeah. That's how they make what they have determined is not enough income. A very small amount of income for them, doing handiwork around the town of Perfection, Nevada.
I ask you, this is a job for intelligent men.
Well, show me one. I'll ask him.
I mean, if we were real serious about money, we'd quit being hired hands.
Handyman, Earl. We are handymen.
Yeah, we should quit this job and find ourselves some real employment.
They're driving to their next job, which is something to do with trash.
Well, I'll tell you. Nobody handles garbage better than we do.
And they pass the new intern in town. So, Adam, it appears that in this town that we learn has a population of fewer than 20, that they get some kind of graduate student every semester from, I guess, a local university.
Mesa State.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did they say that?
I think it says it on her equipment.
And so the graduate student is the aforementioned Rhonda LeBeck, played by Finn Carter, now in jail.
But not what Val had been hoping for.
Val, unlucky in love, was hoping for, I guess, a very shallow, someone more attractive, I guess. That's what it seemed like to me.
He wasn't willing to look through to the inside at that point in his life.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll change.
I thought this was a great dad joke right here, Adam, by Sam Ward.
And you two must be Val and Earl. I've heard all about you.
We deny everything.
Adam, that plays every time.
I was a little nervous there that you were going to reference another Sam Ward dad joke when they were in the car on the way to meet old Rhonda.
Well, now here's something about Tremors that I have to say I didn't know. The language in this movie is pretty bad, Adam. So this movie was originally rated R, and it had more than 20 hard F-bombs in this movie. Now, I didn't know this. Apparently, back in the 90s, Adam, you could be PG-13 and you were allowed one F-bomb as long as it didn't have to do with a sexual situation. A take my breath away scene.
Right.
So you could use one hard F-bomb as long as it wasn't in that scenario.
That's why they had to dub over.
There were some bad dub overs.
Well, when they destroy the one monster, spoiler, Kevin Bacon originally in the script looked down at the monster and said, "Bang, bang, my friend." But they had to dub over that. So it didn't make the final cut.
Somewhere Brady Manick's like, Paulo Banchero. Let me tell you a little movie about these giant underground worms, buddy. So, Adam, a little foreshadowing here in a very subtle way that Rhonda is a grad student for geology, and she's doing some seismic work, and she's been recording some odd vibrations underneath the ground and wants to know if Val and Earl know anything about this.
Do you know if anybody's doing any drilling or blasting or anything like that?
Around here? No, ma'am.
Well, I've been getting some really strange readings. I mean, the school's had these machines up here for 3 years, and we've never recorded anything like this.
Good vibrations, feeling like sun-kissed. Many want to know who done this. She's actually Marky Mark. I don't think she's much of a seismologist if she couldn't detect the ground shaking.
Well, I got to say, that equipment didn't look very modern to me.
Well, she's not getting the best equipment because she's an intern.
They do have like the little needle going back and forth. Is it just constantly going? How's it powered? Is it solar?
It's powered by our hopes and dreams of making a great discovery out in the Nevada desert.
All right. You learn that we are in Perfection, Nevada, which, according to the sign driving into town on a dirt road, was established in 1902 with a population of 14, elevation 2,135. I did enjoy the little population thing where it looked like it was something that they were changing day to day.
Yeah, you can update it as needed.
You head into, Adam, what is one of just two inside sets. So pretty much this entire movie is set outside with only two portions of the movie being inside a building. And that includes this one, really the hub of the town, Walter Chang's Market. That was Victor Wong, who we were talking about earlier, playing Walter Chang, running basically the general store of this town, and seems to be just where you go for anything, whether it's snacks, the post office, a beer, whatever it might be.
Do these other 13 people buy enough goods to keep the store in business?
I wondered how that store stayed in business because it was pretty well stocked.
And had a wide variety of items.
I did wonder that.
I mean, I'm not saying it was a Buc-ee's, but it wasn't that far off for this town. But I'm guessing Walter's overhead was low. No other employees, evidently, other than Walter. Probably lived upstairs or something.
Yeah. So, again, there just aren't very many people in this movie. You meet Bert and Heather, Mr. Keaton and Reba. They're there at the market. You meet this little punk Melvin.
Boy, what a jerk.
Who were Melvin's parents?
I don't think that was ever made clear. I think a lot of people mistakenly think that Melvin's parents are the doctor and his wife. But that is not Melvin's parents. They wouldn't raise a kid like that.
So head back out into the field, and the seismograph starts popping off, Adam.
I wrote down some very confused words during that scene in the store that I was very confused about, and all I wrote down is the Family Ties dad is buying hollow point bullets.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he was frustrated that he hadn't been given the correct type of bullets. Like he had placed an order for bullets. Because what you learn about the Gummers is that they are big-time survivalists, Adam. They have like a bomb shelter in their house. They are very extreme in that way.
And I think in 1990, that was funny.
Yeah, it played in 1990.
Right.
Probably a little different in today's climate.
Right.
One thing that I had forgotten totally about this movie, because you've never seen this movie,
This
right?
was the first time I had ever seen it.
So one thing I had totally forgotten about this movie until this scene, when you go back out, the seismograph starts going off, is that you get a lot of shots as if you are the worm monster. So it's like ground level shots of like the worm monster going after people. And I've forgotten that you get that a lot. Sometimes you are like in a dirt tunnel. Sometimes you're just at ground level. And so this is the first time we get this where you don't know what it is yet, but you're at ground level with the camera going right after Rhonda, who somehow doesn't know what's happening, but she gets in her car right before the camera gets to her, which is trying to tell you right before the monster gets to her.
Well, and all the other times when someone's getting into something, we see the monster attack the something.
Yeah.
But in this initial scene...
Well, the monster's still just learning, Adam.
That's true.
Adam's like, well, you have busted the movie for me, Jones. Thank you. All right, so we're back to Earl and Val. They are continuing to do some odd jobs. They are picking up trash at a dump, I guess. But there's only 14 people that live in this town. They're trying to clean up a septic tank. Melvin's laughing at them because the septic tank busts and sprays grossness all over them. I wrote Melvin, parentheses, little punk. He really is. He reminds me of Jason Hervey. But he looks like him, but it's not him.
No. Brother Wayne from the Wonder
Yeah.
Years. Yeah, he looks exactly like that kid and kind of acts like that kid without the redeeming qualities that Wayne had in the Wonder Years. He's just a punk all the way through.
Yeah. There's also this underlying battle between Earl and Val the whole movie of Earl wants to plan things out and big-time planner where Val's just going by the seat of his pants at him.
Damn it, Valentine, you never plan ahead. You never take the long view. I mean, here it is Monday, and I'm already thinking of Wednesday.
See, we plan ahead. That way we don't do anything right now. Earl explained it to me.
I know it sounds weird, but the chemistry between those two really does work.
Yeah.
Like, anytime they were together, I enjoyed that part of the movie.
So they've decided they're leaving Perfection because they've just had enough of it. It's too podunk of a town. They're getting out of here. You meet Nancy and Mindy Sterngood on the way out of town. Mindy is the aforementioned Jurassic Park girl. Nancy is her mom. No dad?
Nah.
Some odd family dynamics in this town.
It's a weird town. I think that's fair to say. I think it's where you go if some of your other chances have not worked out.
And so that's just it. Val and Earl, they're heading out of town. Oh, wait, what's the name of the town they're going to, Adam?
Bixby?
Bixby. They're just the big city.
Right.
That they are leaving to go to Bixby for greener pastures. They even turned down Nancy's offer of a full month's work, including lunches and free beer. Turn it down. And they're heading to Bixby. But wait a second, Adam. On the way out of town, they pass an electrical tower, and oh boy, the town drunk is up there. Edgar Deems.
Man, oh man, he sure must have been drunk this time.
Edgar, get your butt down from there.
They notice Edgar isn't moving. They think that perhaps they thought he had they did. They thought he had gotten drunk and climbed the electrical tower and passed out up there. Be a dangerous game to play.
Well, I feel like if you passed out, wouldn't you fall off the electrical tower?
One would think, but not the case here because Edgar is dead. They find this out after Kevin Bacon climbs the tower and comes face to face with the dead body.
Without hesitation from Kevin Bacon. He's just like, oh, well, guess I'm going to climb that tower.
And he didn't even seem that, taken aback that he was dead.
Apparently there's another scene that didn't make the cut that would have made this all make more sense.
I have a hard time believing it's not making sense so far.
That the monsters had eaten some of Edgar's cattle or sheep or something, and he ran up the tower to get away from the monsters, but they cut that scene because they wanted the big reveal of the monsters to come later in the movie. That was going to be one of the very initial scenes you saw, which that would have made this make a little more sense because honestly it was weird.
Adam said that Kevin Bacon climbed the tower with no hesitation. Well, Adam, he climbed the tower because he lost the rock, paper, scissors game that he and Earl played, which is how Val and Earl make decisions. Which I'm pretty sure Earl went scissors every time they did it throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, every time. Don't act like you don't know what he's going to do. He's going scissors.
Well, I think that was a nice little peek into Earl's. I'm sure they thought of that was a little layer to Earl's character, Adam, that he knows that scissors works 1/3 of the time, and so he's going to stick with it every time.
They do it weird, too. Like, they just go 1, 2, boom.
Oh, I go 1, 2, 3, boom.
Well, I got to have the thing under the hand. Like, the right hand does the rock, paper, scissors, and the left hand is what you pat it on.
Yeah, so you go 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Right, yeah.
Right. Oh, I just did rock. Adam did scissors. No big deal.
I went scissors in honor of Earl.
I did rock because I'm a winner. So, okay, so Edgar's dead. So they take him to the local doctor.
Was it a heart attack, doctor?
No. Died of dehydration.
Thirst. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That takes a couple of days, doesn't it? Maybe even 3 or 4.
You mean he sat up there 3 or 4 days? He sat up there and just died of thirst?
Next scene.
So that's that.
Sorry. Well, right? No, it's like, okay, Edgar died of dehydration. Next scene.
All right, let's go on to Bixby, boys.
Let's go to old Fred. So old Fred, this is legitimately what happens. Old Fred is working in his dirt yard with his sheep. He has a pen of sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when you get the first legitimate attack of the monster. The monster takes old Fred down underneath the ground and takes down all the sheep. Now, you see old Fred get sucked down under the ground, and you see the sheep getting all hot and bothered. Next thing you see is Val and Earl coming by. Again, they're just trying to get to Bixby. Second time. Second time they're trying to leave, and they encounter a dead body.
This is bad luck in a town of 14.
Yeah.
I mean, you've just run into like 12% of the population dead.
Yeah. So they walk up. You see very realistic mangled sheep everywhere. And then, Adam, perhaps in a movie full of ridiculous shots, perhaps the most ridiculous shot of old Fred's head sticking out of the ground with the look of surprise on it. It was one of the worst prosthetic body parts a movie has ever used. I paused the movie on that shot and just looked at it for like 5 minutes at how terrible it was.
I thought that it was redeemed by Kevin Bacon's incredible reaction.
Oh, this is one of my favorite lines of the whole movie.
Oh, Jesus! What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
I started keeping a tally of how many times Kevin Bacon goes from, like, I'm having a normal conversation to on the verge of an anger dance in moments. I mean, we were so close to an anger dance on multiple occasions because he just gets incensed in a heartbeat.
That's a shame that there was no anger dance. This would be a movie where anger dance could play a role.
Earl would have looked on with a bemused face like, oh, these youngsters. But then Kevin Bacon would have worked it all out and come back and been like, and Earl would be like, you feel better? Kevin Bacon would be like, you know it. And off we go to Bixby.
They just never can quite get to Bixby. So, third time's a charm. They're going to go to Bixby. But after they see old Fred's dead head, they turn back around and come back to town. In doing so, they pass a couple of construction workers at him who are fixing the one road that leads in and out of Perfection. And you had already seen them pass by these workers, but they're coming back by to tell everybody about old Fred's dead head. And they warn the construction workers that there's some kind of killer on the loose and cutting off people's heads and get the heck out of there.
Would it be that hard to find this person in completely flat ground in a town of 14?
No. Which we'll soon find out, Adam. Because one of the two construction workers takes the warning seriously and gets a little nervous. The other one thinks they're just yanking his chain, so he continues his jackhammer work. And what a bad coincidence for him that he was working with a jackhammer, because he hits the big monster with his jackhammer. You can see the monster's underground. It's a giant underground monster.
Hey, this movie's not good. It's not good. I don't care what anybody says. It's not good.
And he hits the monster with his jackhammer, which causes quite a bloodbath at that point.
Yep.
Like from the monster.
Right.
So the monster gets mad. Great visual. Rips the jackhammer out of the guy's hands. Drags it across the street so it looks like it's like walking on its own. Really bad luck that the cord of the jackhammer gets wrapped around the construction worker's leg. Then the monster takes him up a hill and causes an avalanche, which blocks the road and kills the other worker.
Yeah. Seems plausible.
So we're already at a body count of old Fred, the town drunk Edgar, two construction workers, and a boatload of sheep. So this movie kind of reminds, I think it was Christmas Vacation that we said this about, where it was just kind of like a bunch of scenes put together.
Yeah.
Not really a lot of continuity necessarily.
Right.
And I kind of felt that way about this movie, at least during this part. I didn't feel like there was a lot of continuity as to what was happening, other than the monster was just wreaking havoc.
Well, and I guess that kind of makes sense when you think about how originally they shot it differently.
Yeah.
And they had more monsters and more monsters doing things, but all that part came out. So I guess maybe that's how they sort of chopped it together.
Because now we get to really the first graphic attack from the monster. We had the first legitimate attack on old Fred in his head. This one is a little more graphic, where the doctor who had made the dehydration call a couple minutes ago, he and his wife, again, not real. I think they were building a house.
I think that's right.
And yet it was nighttime, and the house is nowhere close to completion. But they're sitting outside of the non-completed house, just kind of hanging out in their car.
On a station wagon.
Yeah. And so you get another attack where the monster just sucks old Dr. Jim right into the ground. The wife can't get away. She goes to the car but doesn't have the keys at first. That was the problem at first. But then she did turn the car on once the monster started attacking it, and it pulled the car into the ground. Great shot of like this wide shot of you only saw the headlights shooting up into the night sky. So Dr. Jim and Mrs. Dr. Jim both dead.
You said great shot. I put questionable special effects.
No, it was terrible.
When the car
I didn't mean it for real, Adam. I mean, it was a ridiculously terrible shot.
It really was. It was almost
the
cartoonish.
special effects in this movie, not good. Well, I did read that the original shot of that scene was the viewer was going to be in the car, and you were going to kind of go underground, and it was a lot more graphic, but something happened with the material that they were going to use as the dirt to shoot it. It got too dry, and so they couldn't use it, and so they had to come up with something on the fly, and that's what they came up with, the two headlights shining into the night sky.
That's movie-making magic at its finest. We've encountered an obstacle. We'll get around it with this incredible shot.
Val and Earl, again, maybe trying to go to Bixby, can't remember. Somehow they're driving back out of town, but the avalanche has blocked the road. So they're trying to get out of there, and their car gets stuck, and you don't know why it's stuck.
You know, you can break an axle like that.
Could you shut up?
Hey, I don't need to spend the night out here.
Cry, baby.
But in this next scene, you learn that it was stuck because the monster was on it, because they pull back up into Walter Chang's Market's parking lot, and there's a piece of the monster hanging off the back of the car.
Which everyone seems to take fairly reasonably.
Really calmly.
Which surprised me because I feel like I wouldn't take it that well.
They sell the piece of the monster to Walter Chang for $15.
I'll give you boys $5 for this.
20.
Okay, 10.
15.
Okay, 15.
Damn right, 15.
And Mr. Chang, being a wise businessman, then starts having photo ops with the monster for $3 each. But here's the problem, Adam. You have a very limited audience.
Well, and so much of your audience is dead. I mean, if your population was still 14, which we know it's not, maximum you're going to make $42.
Yeah. So you come out plus 27?
But here's the bad news. 4 of those people, well, the doctor and his wife aren't in the 14 because they're not official residents yet.
Well, and I don't think the construction workers count because they were just there working on the road.
So
really you're just down.
Only lost 2.
Yeah, Edgar and old Fred.
Okay, so we're down to 12, but he's not going to take a picture of himself, so really we're down to 11. You're going to make $33 at most, and we've established the monsters smell bad.
Oh, yeah, so that's something they talk about a lot.
Isn't that going to make your store, which is very well stocked, have a little bit of a distinct aroma about it? Is that worth the proceeds from the photo booth? I'm not sure he thought out this business arrangement that he made.
So, Adam, now we learn that pretty much this our crew of heroes here is cut off. Phones out, roads out. They are alone in perfection. So we got Val and Earl. We got Jurassic Park girl and her mama. We got Walter Chang. We got graduate student. We got the Gummers. And some other, the punk kid. Melvin. And then
Melvin's parents.
Well,
we never see them.
Well, and there's some other guy too. like Cletus or something. There's one other guy. Because remember, he dies later because he's on the top of the trailer.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler, sorry. So our group of heroines and heroes cut off from the outside world. Multiple times they decide that they're going to leave town and go get help, but it never works.
Right.
A couple of quotes here in the next few minutes as Val and Earl are going to get on some horses and ride out of town to get to Bixby. Mr. Chang says,
Hey, Earl, here's some Swiss cheese and some bullets.
Swiss cheese, some kind of ammunition like term I don't know?
I think that was just a snack. He packed him a snack and some ammo.
So Val and Earl, for the third or fourth time, trying to leave town and find horrible wreckage. This time it's the wreckage of the attack on the doctor.
The hell are those things? And how could they bury a whole station wagon? Why would they do it?
Then the monster shows up, eats one of their horses, chases Val and Earl, but they jump into a drainage ditch. Is that a fair?
I think that's what it was.
That's lined with concrete.
Sure.
Monster hits the concrete and dies.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid son of a knocked itself cold.
Cold my He's dead.
I enjoyed, there was that brief moment when they were leaving on the horses, and for all of a sudden we got like a slow-mo riding on horseback shot as they were going off in the distance, and I thought, are we switching into a different movie now? Like, is Clint Eastwood going to meet them on the ridge line or something? But no, we just went right back to chasing the monster.
Couple of great quotes in here. Kevin Bacon after the monster attack, with the realization of
that's how they get you. They're under the ground.
And he goes,
Must be a million of them. Nope, just one.
But here's the thing, Adam. There's more than one, as we learn, because Rhonda shows up. Rhonda's been out doing field work this whole time.
Right, yeah.
She shows up right after the monster kills itself by running into the cement barrier to the drainage ditch. Mm-hmm. I thought she was remarkably calm at this point.
Hey, guys. What's going on? Did you notice anything weird a minute ago?
I thought she had a surprisingly large amount of knowledge about these underground monster worms for a geologist.
Well, she said...
This is probably the biggest zoological discovery of the century.
But she's not a zoologist.
Well, she's a scientist.
Well, yeah, but I don't want her operating on my heart.
Adam, Sheena Easton. It's all the same thing. Kevin Bacon.
Hey, check this out. I found the in. Jesus, we really caught something here.
Holy cow.
Adam, I'm going to bleep all this. I also like when Rhonda somehow decides, just really more than anything, just to give us some parameters for the rest of the movie, that there's 3 more of these things, and Kevin Bacon goes, what?
Well, and she somehow knew there were 3 more because of the readings she was getting.
She didn't know what the readings were until she saw this dead one, but now she knows a lot about them. All she needed to do was lay eyes on it.
Right, yeah, just the business in there coming out of the wrecked concrete. And you have to keep in mind, if you haven't seen this, each monster comes with multiple other little monsters inside the monster.
So there's like a big worm, kind of. Big, thick worm. And then when it opens its mouth, like a bunch of little snakes come out of its mouth. It's like a 3 or 4 pronged snake tongue.
Yep, that's pretty accurate.
Is that pretty good?
That's pretty accurate.
So not surprisingly, monsters are back, and we're chasing our 3 main characters. And Adam, they get stuck on a rock. But here's something we learned: rocks are the most impenetrable force on the universe. These monsters can take down cars. They can churn up the soil so things fall in it. They can take houses down. We'll learn all this later. But a rock at them? Nope, you're safe. Rock, safe.
I think that's why the avalanche was such a big deal. There was no way to move those rocks. Because once a rock gets to its place of residence, there is nothing that can be done at that point.
I enjoyed where Earl said,
That means we're stuck. That me off.
I wrote down that quote too, but I didn't think I was going to be able to say it because I didn't realize this was the Unfiltered podcast. So I'm glad that we were able to get it out
Adam,
there.
there's no way we can do this movie without it. Yep. Not this one line, but with being filtered.
That was an all-time line. And just the way he delivered it, I really believe that he was angry.
So what are they going to do? Don't know. Kevin Bacon says that they should run. Earl says,
run for it. Running's not a plan. Now, running's what you do when the plan fails.
They sleep on the rock overnight. Kevin Bacon and Rhonda end up snuggling.
I thought it was nice that they reached this agreement with the monsters that when the people slept, the monsters would sleep.
Adam, they're on a rock, bro. The monsters can't do anything, dude.
And then
on a rock.
I thought so chivalrous of Val to give his jacket to Rhonda.
Yeah.
I wrote down something is brewing with these youngsters.
That's true. Look, you don't just wrap your denim jacket around a lady and sleep on a rock together if there's not chemistry brewing.
I liked Earl's raised eyebrow of acknowledgement. He saw what was happening.
Yeah, Earl's been through some battles. He knows. Adam, so we're stuck on the rock and the monster's still there. The monster's just waiting them out. Because we have decided that the monsters respond to vibrations. And no matter where, even if you're standing on a rock, they can still feel it. They just can't get to you.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But what a great idea by Rhonda. She comes through with the immortal line of,
You guys know how to pole vault!
Because, Adam, there were some long sticks right next to the rock.
Directly next to the rock.
And there were multiple rock formations just close enough that if you use one of these long sticks, 3 of which were there, you can essentially pole vault from rock to rock.
We just stay where it can't get us.
I enjoyed Kevin Bacon's line in this sequence.
Who died and made you Einstein?
I don't think that's how it works. I don't think one Einstein dies and you just pass the title to the next one. But for him it was. And then I wrote down, I suspect pole vaulting is harder than they made it look.
Well, I did like how they made Earl. It took Earl 2 tries to get it down.
Not Kevin Bacon.
No, Kevin Bacon got it in the first try.
And I wondered,
as did Rhonda.
I wondered if I had missed a part of the story where Rhonda was a world-class gymnast or something, and like we had already established that about her character, because she just immediately is like, "Oh yes, we'll just pole vault. I've done this many times before."
So they pole vault their way close enough to Rhonda's car, which is still around, a truck, to get in. They take one final pole vault into the bed of the truck, where I was seated in a jacket following a Rams Club event.
They immediately have a discussion about, is this legal?
Is this
I'm not sure.
legal or not?
Can we do this? Is this okay?
Rhonda goes through the back window, but kind of hanging in and out. Adam, how did she drive? She was able to start the car, press the gas with her hand, and drive, all while hanging like the back half of her body out the window into the bed of the truck, her front half in the truck.
Jones, I don't like to say this about this film, but I felt like that required a little bit of suspension of reality to believe that she could do that.
Okay.
She goes a fair distance driving in that fashion.
Well, they get all the way back to Chang's.
Yeah.
Back to home base. So we're trying to work out all these problems. The Gummers have gone off to try and figure things out. And by golly, Adam, this monster attacks Chang's. It's going straight for the heart of the town.
This is another time when I felt like we were on the verge of an anger dance. Kevin Bacon gets very intense very, very quickly.
They're trying to be quiet. And then what happens? Mindy's dumb backside shows up on her pogo stick. We forgot to tell you Mindy likes to bounce around town on a pogo stick.
Right.
That's Jurassic Park girl.
Yeah.
On a pogo stick. So she's hopping around, but Adam, the vibrations.
No, Mindy. Stop. Mindy, get out the boat.
Kevin Bacon goes and saves her, but it's pandemonium. The monster's eating the pogo stick. Rhonda gets out there. She gets caught in barbed wire somehow, so they have to take her pants off.
Down your pants.
I mean, literally, she just took her pants off, and that got her out of the barbed wire.
And that got her out of the... I really spent some time thinking about, is that a legitimate way to get out of barbed wire? And I just don't think
I don't think so either. You still got to get your leg
right
out of the pants.
The barb from the wire is in your skin. That's what makes it an effective torture device. Like, if this was a way to escape, you know, when you pass by a prison and they've got all the barbed wire,
Yeah.
all the criminals would just be like, well, that's fine. Just take your pants off and you can just go right out. That's not how it works. Now, I will say, the moment when Jurassic Park girl is bouncing around on her pogo stick, that's the one moment in the movie I legitimately felt like, ooh, this is an ominous scene, and I know what's going to happen. This is not going to be good.
She had on a Walkman. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
She couldn't hear him telling her to stop bouncing on the stick because she had a Walkman on.
All she could hear was, but I know I love you.
She was sitting there going, pump up the jam, pump it up. So all this commotion just leads to a stronger attack, and Adam, the monster just straight up eats Walter. Just eats him. Busts through the floor of the general store and eats him.
I felt like Walter deserved more.
I do too. Because they were all inside trying to be quiet, but Walter's got this faulty Pepsi Cola machine that starts banging around every now and then because the compressor's not quite right. And when it did it, made too much noise. Monster found him, bust through the floor, and it's a full-out attack.
Turn it off. Pull it back. I got it.
Which includes Rhonda jumping on the... There's no way that those shelves were holding her.
No.
Somehow she...
Are you talking about when she, like...
is running from shelf to shelf?
And they all stay completely upright, but when the monster hits them, they're like, oh, I'm falling over.
Yeah.
So do you think Pepsi had to pay for that product placement?
Yes.
But it's not portrayed in a very favorable light. Like, you cost the shop owner his life.
I don't think you can...
Faulty products.
I don't think you can just put it in there.
I don't think that was a wise expenditure. If I could do this movie again, this would probably be the only change I'd make. I'd have the punk kid get eaten instead of the shop owner.
Well, I think they did, because so many times, because I do think this is somewhat a horror film, in addition to it being like a campy, stupid comedy also.
Do you think they thought they were making a campy, stupid comedy?
No.
They thought they were making a monster movie.
Yes.
That's what I think too.
And so in those type of movies, somebody that you care about has to go, right? So I think you like Walter, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't like the kid.
Oh, no.
But you like Walter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Walter.
So everybody, vicious attack. Everybody gets to the roof. So you've got Earl and Val and a gentleman whose name I don't know. They're on the roof of Walter's store. Walter's dead. Punk Kid is on the top of an outhouse.
Yeah, was he in an outhouse?
Think he was in an outhouse. Jurassic Park girl and her mom are on top of their home, which is right across the street from Walter's house.
Right.
Or Walter's store. Rando guy, who I'm going to call Cletus, is on top of his trailer. And Rhonda, grad student girl, who you thought for just a moment might be dead because she was jumping up on the shelves, and then all of a sudden the shelves get knocked over. You look out, oh no, the monster's attacking where the shelves fell. Oh, don't worry, she climbed to the top of the water tower, also right next to Walter's store.
That was an American Ninja Warrior type escape by Rhonda. I'm telling you, I think Rhonda's got some incredible gymnastics in her background.
Kevin Bacon, concerned that Rhonda's dead, gives it a, oh no, but then sees her climbing on the water tower, and then Adam in all time goes, are you okay? And an all-time thumbs up by Rhonda to say that she's okay. I mean, Adam, like if you battled Keanu Reeves' thumbs up from Point Break versus Rhonda's thumbs up from Tremors, I don't know, dude. That's a battle of the Titans.
Yeah, that's 2 number 1 seeds at the top of their game.
I mean, it was, look, we all almost just died. We all literally saw Walter get eaten right in front of us
by a monster that came out of the ground
by
in the middle of the store.
By an unexplained ground monster. You okay? Thumbs up. I mean, like, let me wind the hand. Thumbs up, everybody. Everything's A-okay. I'm on top of this water tower.
I was a little disappointed we didn't get some slow-mo in the thumbs up. I felt like it called for it.
Maybe a little bit of emotional music when Kevin Bacon's like,
yeah.
Oh, no. But then, here comes Rhonda climbing up, and you get a little bit of like some Sheena Easton or something in the background. And
well, I think she hits the thumbs up, and then you hear the piano tinkling, and then, I don't know much. And then, like, Linda Ronstadt pops out from behind the water tower. Spotlight on Aaron Neville.
Okay. I'm a little bit exhausted going through this movie, but we're going to power. We're going to keep powering through it. Okay, so the Gummers. To the Gummers we go. They are out at their homestead, which is a little bit outside of town. They are heavily, heavily armed. Kevin Bacon has been able to save the CB radio from Walter's store, and he and Bert start talking to each other on the CB radio. They're trying to explain to Bert that the monsters are going their way because Reba started some machine at their house. What was that, Adam?
I don't know.
It
wasn't a loader.
No. She started some machine that was causing vibrations. And as we know, the monsters are going to the vibrations.
Right.
So remember, there were 4 total. We're still at 3 monsters alive. So, Adam, a massive battle ensues in the basement of the Gummer household, which, as I said, heavily armed. As Adam said, plays a lot better in 1990 than it does in our current situation. Like a comical amount of guns on the back wall. I think it was almost used, supposed to be like a funny effect of, look how many guns these random people have.
Like the rest of the movie, meant to be over the top. Like
yes.
This is an over-the-top portrayal of these people.
Yes. So they eventually are able to just out-arsenal one of the monsters and kill it. To which I did enjoy a couple of lines after that scene of Mr. Keaton saying,
Broke into the wrong rec room, didn't you, you bastard?
Then we mentioned the amount of dubbing that had to occur to get this down to PG-13. That's when Mr. Keaton on the CB radio says that,
We killed it! You got that? We killed that mother humper! Come back!
and Kevin Bacon responds,
Roger that, Bert, and congratulations. Be advised, however, there are 2 more mother humpers.
Don't you think that was probably freeing for Mr. Keaton to have just come off of 6 or 7 years or whatever on Family Ties, where everything was very buttoned up and he was wearing a cardigan most of the time, and now he's out there being able to say things like, we killed that mother humper.
Yeah, you picked the wrong rec room.
I mean, Meredith Baxter Burney somewhere was shocked and wasn't quite sure why.
Broke into the wrong blankety-blank rec room, mother humper. So, Adam, now everybody's on their respective roofs.
Sure.
Including Reba and Mr. Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Keaton, but they're excited. They think now that they've learned that they can just take care of these monsters by shooting them. So he tries to shoot one that's circling the home, but can't do it. To which Reba says,
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
That's when you know it's trouble, Adam. Okay. I know this has been a terrific first 2/3 of the movie, so why don't we take a break to say that texting while driving takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's like driving the length of a football field with your eyes closed. Trusted Choice Independent Insurance Agents of North Carolina want you to stay safe behind the wheel. Put down your phone while driving. Let's have a hands-free NC. To learn more, find an agent near you. Visit trustedchoice.com/go-heels. Adam, one other theme throughout the movie, or I don't even know if theme's the right term, just another part of the movie is that the monsters keep getting smarter as the movie goes along. So they keep learning different ways to try to take people down, which you never really get explained what they are, where they're from, or what their motive is. They just seem to want to eat everybody.
Yeah, I think at one point there's a prequel in Tremors. I feel like there's a lot of explaining that could be done about how many of these things came to be, and that includes the monsters and why they're so darn angry.
So they start attacking the base of all the buildings that everybody's standing on to try to collapse the buildings. That's when they take, Nestor's his name, not Cletus.
That's right.
They take down Nestor, who was on the top of a mobile home. They tip the mobile home, take down Nestor. Why did Nestor thought he was going to get on top of a tire after they said, Nestor, get off the ground. So he jumps in a tire like he's riding in an inner tube in the lake.
Yeah.
And you can guess that then they just went up and whoop, down goes Nestor.
Some of the choices made in this movie aren't sound.
They take out the final remaining car, Bert and Heather Gummer's car. So it is everything's wrong. Everything's wrong at this point. But Adam, that's where Kevin Bacon calls back on his Footloose time, not to do an anger dance, but to get a tractor involved. That's where we need to remind you not to let your outside chores or projects or any underground prehistoric monsters cause you to miss any Tar Heel game action. Whether you need to mow it, till it, or move it, let LS Tractor help make short work of it. Visit lstractorusa.com to learn more. lstractorusa.com. LS Tractor. Now you can do more for less. There's a little, I wouldn't even call this first one, I guess it's a little, it's almost like a lawnmower, like a riding lawnmower, right outside of Walter's store. And the guy whose name I don't know, he suggests to use the tractor as a decoy. What a great idea.
That was a good idea.
So they jimmy rig the tractor to drive off by itself, and the monster goes to get it. Goes after the decoy.
Sure.
While they're doing that, Kevin Bacon runs to go get a bulldozer, get it chained up to almost like a giant trash can. And he begins then chugging from location to location, picking everybody up. Because, see, this bulldozer's too heavy. It may as well have been made of granite. It's too heavy for the monster to bust through.
At first, I thought it was a little odd that Kevin Bacon would have this knowledge of heavy machinery.
Right.
But number one, he does all these odd jobs with Earl.
Yep.
And number two, look at his career path. This is not his first time in heavy machinery.
Yeah.
He had to do that in the Footloose town.
Yeah, he knew exactly how to drive this thing.
Yeah.
So they pick everybody up. They go get Bert and Heather. I did think this was a funny line, Adam, where Bert is like looking off at his home as they drive away, and he starts listing all the things that he was like,
food for 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration, Geiger counter, bomb shelter, underground monsters.
Okay, real quick before we finish things up, just that volume. Here comes an ad. So everybody's on the tractor. One of the multiple times in this movie where we're just trying to get out of town, but things aren't going right. Adam, speaking to the fact that the monsters have gotten smarter, they go ahead on the road in which they're all driving in the bulldozer, loosen the soil to the point that when they roll over it on this heavy tractor/bulldozer, it collapses into the ground.
These monsters are getting much too smart for us.
Yeah. So what do, Adam? Good news. There's a rock right there. Everybody goes and jumps on the rock. So they're safe for the time being.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Nothing anybody can do then. I'm on a rock. Base.
Yeah.
I'm on a base.
Yeah. You cannot tag me. I am at base.
Yeah.
But then the realization comes to the group that they're kind of out of options. The town's torn up. The tractor's gone. They're all pretty much stuck on this rock. Mr. Keaton gets mad at Kevin Bacon for taking him out of his safe haven home. Thought that was a funny exchange where after those two had a little dust up, Reba called Mr. Keaton over and was like, I know, he thinks he knows everything. Just calm down.
Oh, Reba.
Yeah. Reba's there making sense of everything.
Why do you think Mr. Keaton wears the Atlanta Hawks cap?
He did wear an Atlanta Hawks hat.
Do you think that is to signify that he's from the South? That's what I thought that was part of his over the top, I'm a Southern survivalist guy. But if that's the case, it should have been a Braves hat.
Yeah.
No one from the South would randomly pick up a Hawks hat.
No, that wouldn't be the choice, especially not in 1990.
Right. But a lot of people, especially right then when the Braves are getting ready to get good, they would be wearing a Braves hat. Again, when I do the remake, he's going to wear a Braves hat.
What hat? What? And it just said Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
That's all it said.
On a yellow corduroy hat.
It was corduroy.
Fun fact, when we get to Tremors 14 or whatever, Mr. Keaton, which is after 2016, Mr. Keaton switches the Hawks hat for a Cubs hat to celebrate the Cubs winning the World Series. Bit of a bandwagon rider, Mr. Keaton.
Mr. Keaton had made some homemade explosives before they left their house. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Sure. It just goes without saying, I think.
Yeah. So they realize that if they throw these homemade explosives and it blows up, it is painful to the monsters because it's so loud that they run away a little bit. So then they start thinking about, okay, can we do this? How can we do this? And then they realize they can use one of these explosives, Adam, as Earl says, like bait.
Mm-hmm.
So they start throwing rocks and stuff to bring one of the monsters over, then toss in one of these explosives, to which I did enjoy the exchange where...
What kind of fuse is that? Cannon fuse. What the hell you use it for? A cannon.
This is the only part of the movie I rewound. Mr. Keaton is the worst thrower I've ever seen.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't notice that.
I rewound it and slow-moed it.
Bad form?
When he throws the bomb, I mean, it's... Maybe the bomb weighs 1,000,000 pounds and I just don't realize it. I've never seen someone throw something so poorly in a movie.
Just to show you how complex this movie is, there's probably 20 minutes left and I have 3 more things written down. So they blow up. One of the monsters takes the bait, eats the explosive, and blows up. Great scene of monster goo flying all over the place.
Come on, baby. Take the bait. Yeah, all right.
So you're down to one. You had the one that died running into the concrete in the drain, one that got shot up in the Gummer's basement / rec room, and now one that has eaten an explosive and blown up. So they're thinking, all right, great. We've done this. We're just going to toss another explosive, blow up the other monster, and we're out of this problem. They do it, but Adam, monster's getting smarter, spits the explosive back at him. It lands on the bag of all their other explosive. Everything blows up, and now things are really dire.
Luckily, though, they were able to hide behind the rock,
yeah,
which, as we know, is impenetrable.
I mean, 5 feet from a bag full of highly explosive material
that had just completely detonated the ground monster, but could not at all do anything to this rock.
No. The explosive is such that it did blow Kevin Bacon off the rock, so he is out in the middle of the landscape. The monster comes after him. He uses the time-tested application, which did happen a couple of times in the movie, of just standing still, and the monster can't find you, apparently.
Right. Including it being all under his legs.
Yeah.
And he would just
he would do a little anger dance around it.
A little, just lifting his leg to dodge the little tiny monster.
One of the snake tongue monsters of the big monster.
Right.
Kevin Bacon's holding the last bomb. They all want him to throw the bomb, scare the monster away so that he, Earl, and Rhonda, who also were blown off the rocks, can jump back on the rock. But Kevin Bacon has decided that enough is enough, Adam.
Use your bomb. It's our last one. What else you gonna use it for? So what if we make it to the rocks? We'll be dead in 3 days anyway. Well, I want to live for the 3 days.
He also notices that, hey, wait a second. I just urinated off this canyon, or into this canyon at the beginning of the film. So he runs towards the massive cliff. The monster starts to chase him. Kevin Bacon throws the bomb. Everybody thinks it's a bad throw because he threw it too far behind the monster, but in reality, Adam, he was trying to get it to detonate, and then the noise pushed the monster even farther and faster ahead. The monster charging at full speed towards Kevin Bacon with this cliff right behind him. Kevin Bacon, due to his footloose agility, jumps away at the last second. The monster busts through the edge of the cliff, free falls into the canyon. Kevin Bacon says, "Can you fly, sucker? Can you fly?"
Yeah! Can you fly, you sucker? Can you fly?
Spoiler, he cannot. The monster falls to the ground. Disgusting explosion as it hits the rocks, and the final monster has indeed been vanquished.
You know, I didn't think this movie was good when I watched it, but in hearing you describe the events of what occurs, I think I like it even less. Like, you've really brought home how ridiculous this is.
Fast forward to now the final scene. Earl and Val are talking about how they can sell their story and make a big fortune off of it. They might even get in People magazine, Adam.
We could get in People magazine. People? Hell, National Geographic.
To me, that's right up there with JCPenney's Coming Here Because of Me.
Yeah.
Like, that was, you are in 1990. There's nowhere we could possibly be bigger than if we get in People magazine.
Rhonda, of course, due to her excellent field work climbing up that water tower, she is going to be on the team of geologists, I guess, just scientists in general, that are going to study what happened. So she's going to be on the case. She tells Val this, some tension there between the two. She clearly wants Val to kiss her. He won't. She walks away. Val then realizes his mistake, runs up, they kiss, and the movie just ends. I thought it was an abrupt ending.
That wasn't the original ending.
I know. The original ending was Val and Earl finally getting their way driving to Bixby, but they need the light. And that's something we didn't mention. There's this constant kind of gag throughout the movie that whoever needs the lighter doesn't have it, whether it's for a cigarette or the bombs or something. Like, it's always somebody else who has the lighter. And so Val and Earl are driving to Bixby. They're about to pop in a cigarette. They need their lighter and realize that it's Rhonda who has the lighter, so they're going to turn back to town. And, oh, boy, they're heading back to perfection. That was the original end of the movie. But apparently, I guess, test audiences thought that was the biggest issue with this movie. And so they said they wanted some kind of completion for Rhonda and Val. So you get Val and Rhonda kissing in the middle of the street, and boom, credits roll. Adam, mercifully, Tremors comes to an end.
I got to tell you, I like the original ending better.
Yeah.
Like, the story to me wasn't Val and Rhonda. The
Yeah.
story was Val and Earl.
Trying to get to Bixby. Just trying to get out of perfection.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to people in the test audience who legitimately thought this was a viable love story between Val and the geologist, that's your mistake, not the ending that you crafted. The ending you crafted was good. Listening to these people who thought this is a believable relationship, that's your problem.
Whew. Adam, I have to say, I've seen Tremors several times, mostly in kind of on a TV version. So I'm probably on TNT or TBS or something like that. I've always enjoyed the silliness of Tremors if you kind of sit down and you catch the last 30 minutes or maybe you watch a middle 30 minutes. It was not a great watch from start to finish.
It was about 95 minutes long. Felt every one of them.
So, Adam, what's your Roadhouse? What's your Roadhouse?
As we know, the Roadhouse scale is different. Let me be clear, do not in any way like this movie. And nor do I hope that I will ever see it again.
1 to 5? Is that what we normally do, or is it 1 to 4? It's 5, right?
Okay.
I think it's 5.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to go 3.5.
Roadhouse, 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 Road.
I think that's what I'm going to do, too.
Roadhouse, 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 Road.
It is not a great movie. I mean, Roadhouse is a better movie than this.
Point Break is a better movie than this.
Oh, by far.
Almost everything we've watched is a better movie than this.
The only one I would go lower is probably Big Trouble in Little China. But here's what I'll give Big Trouble in Little China. It knew what it was.
Right. It was in on the joke.
Yes, it knew it was ridiculously over-the-top dumb and played to that.
Plus, Jake Lawler told us that that's a masterpiece.
Yes, and I have to say, I gave that a very low ranking at the time. I think as time has gone by, I do appreciate what you just said, and that is that it knew what it was. I'm not sure Tremors knew what it was until after the fact. Now, they have very clearly embraced what it is after the fact,
right?
Which is why it's had success, because it's dumb, and everybody knows it's dumb, and that's part of the fun. So that's why I give it 3.5. It's dumb. I think it knows now that it's dumb. I don't think it knew then that it was dumb.
I suspect that if I went back and made a list of all my ratings, perhaps some of them would not make sense.
Yeah, I don't think any of the ratings never really make sense.
I think that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It didn't realize it was trying to be something it wasn't, and then when everybody was like, "Oh, you're not that," it was like, "Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we were being funny."
And now I'm all, do we normally do 5 or 4?
If we do 4, then I might change my rating to 3.
What do we normally do?
I'm not sure. I thought about this morning and I wasn't sure.
It's been too long since we've done one.
It's been a whole year.
If you go into it expecting a horror film, then you're going to be disappointed because it's so campy and the graphics and the special effects are so bad. There are a couple like jump scare kind of things that might make you flinch. But if you're going in expecting that, you'll be disappointed. If you go in expecting something that's over the top, silly, then I think you'll like it.
Did you see this in the theater?
Gracious no. I never saw this until it was on TV.
I wonder if that would change my opinion. If I had seen it in the theater, would I associate it more kind of like Karate Kid with like a time? But instead, I'm just associating it with what was on the screen, which was not that great.
Well, I think it is very 90s. The effects make you realize that it was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Whew. I feel like I've been chased by worm monsters all day, Adam.
I hope there's some concrete nearby or rock.
Adam, do we have anything else?
No.
Adam, who should we have?
Larry Fedora.
Larry Fedora. That's a good one. We're going to let Larry Fedora, Coach Fedora, and the RZA get us out of here on the latest edition of the Carolina Insider.
See you later, Big Grits.
When I was small, we had nothing at all. We used to eat grits for dinner.
Pound box of sugar and a stick of margarine. A hot pot of grits kept my family from starving. Steamy hot meal served less than 5 minutes. Big silver pot, boiling water, salt in it. House full of brothers and sisters, the pot's missing. Pilgrim on a box on the stove in the kitchen.
When I was small, we had nothing at all. We used to eat grits for dinner.
See you later, Big Grits.
The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Tar Heel Sports Network.